Hare Krishna. Question: if devotees become the target of black magic, then should they just take shelter of devotional service, or should they go to tantriks to deal with the problem? Answer: it will depend on the intensity of the problem as well as the circumstances in which it is happening. Generally speaking, the devatas are controlled by the Supreme Lord. So instead of going to specific religious rituals, devotees take shelter of Krishna directly, and one can especially take shelter of Lord Narasimha Dev, who is the protector. And they can take shelter of Narasimha Dev in 4 different ways. One is by chanting special mantras about Narasimha Dev, like Narasimha Kavach mantras or the Narasimha prayers which are there in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Second is that we can take shelter of the Bhagavatam itself by always keeping the book Bhagavatam with us and reading it regularly, especially the Narasimha pastimes. Third is that one can wear a Narasimha Kavach. There is a special Narasimha Yajna that is done. We can, if we want, we can do it in Mayapur, and then wear the Narasimha Kavach, and one can chant the Narasimha Arti more frequently, especially when one feels troubled by this. And generally speaking, most problems will be dealt with by this itself. And Lord Narasimha Dev's protection is supremely potent. So that is what devotees need to do. On some occasions, if the problem is extremely severe and the effects are intolerable, then it may be felt by some people that one needs some urgent solutions. The Lord does solve our problems, but sometimes Kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Krishna describes that in some cases people want very quick results, and in that case they worship other devatas also. So Krishna doesn't necessarily speak this in a disapproving tone in the 4th chapter of the Gita. So if the problem is persisting, and then if we feel it is not endurable, then if it is required, it's not that senior devotees who are guiding such a person have to come in the way of that person's seeking a remedy from tantriks. The important point is to recognize that one not mistake the material with the spiritual. So even if one worships goes to a tantric and does some worship in terms of some rituals which involve worshipping certain other beings, one should not let that become a distraction in one's worship of Krishna, recognizing that this is simply material. And the spiritual effects of devotion to Krishna will come only by the practice of serious devotional service. So in general, going to tantriks is not necessary and it is not recommended, because our previous acharyas have not, through their life as far as we know, recommended this to anyone if they face the problems. And secondly, it is quite likely, it is possible that it may lead to a splitting of our devotion. So that's why one has to be cautious. And some devotee leaders may completely disapprove of it, saying that it will lead to mixed devotion, and others may say that no, this is a material problem and it may require a material solution. So as long as we are clear about the difference between the material and the spiritual, and there is if the problem is severe and one needs to take the guidance of some remedial measures of some tantric, it is not necessarily that devotees have to come in the way of taking that material solution. Overall, we should be clear about what is spiritual and stay focused on the spiritual, irrespective of what we need to do at the material level to keep things right. Thank you. Hare Krishna.